Okay, today we're doing a deep dive into something really tough. Maybe one of the toughest challenges. Finding motivation again after, well, losing everything. We're talking catastrophic loss here. Financial, health, relationships, even your identity or reputation just gone.
Yeah.
This isn't just a setback. It feels like a full system reset. So we looked into how you actually rebuild motivation forensically, right? From ground zero, we wanted to find the real mechanics, the actual steps from the sources for turning that void, that emptiness, into a new foundation.
And it's so important to get the starting point right. Psychologically, people often think, I need to feel positive first. But that's not it. The initial hit is much more like acute grief. You've got the shock, the anger, despair. It's all there. Where people who manage to rebuild differ is, well, they consciously shift from devastation to direction. It's about cognitive restructuring and behavioral activation, doing things, not waiting to feel like doing things. And eventually, identity reinvention.
Okay, let's unpack that. Step one you mentioned is this 48-hour containment protocol. The sources say this time is neurologically chaotic. Why is stabilization the absolute first thing?
Yeah, chaotic is the right word. Your brain is literally flooded with stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, trying to make big plans or, strategize in that state. It's basically impossible. You just dig deeper. So the goal is pure stabilization, nothing more. We call it the four-phase containment sequence.
In phase one is purely physical. The sources are super specific. A 20-minute nap or a 90-minute sleep cycle, 500 milliliters of water plus protein, 1,000 steps outside. Is there, like, hard science on why those exact things?
Oh, absolutely. It's about disrupting the immediate negative feedback loops. That nap or sleep cycle, that's the sleep debt reset. We actually know sleep deprivation massively increases how strongly you remember negative stuff, like by 40%.
Wow, 40%.
Yeah, so you need to hit that physical reset button. The water and protein are basic fuel. And the 1,000 steps outside, that's a movement microdose. Sunlight hitting your eyes helps kickstart serotonin. You're stabilizing the machine first.
Okay, so physical first. Then that leads into what the sources call narrative lockdown, hours 4 to 12. This involves writing the raw truth down, but on paper specifically. Why paper?
It externalizes the swirling thoughts, getting it out of your head and onto physical paper, actually, reduces the load on your amygdala, your brain's fear center. It makes it finite, tangible. And once you've written that raw list, no filtering, you perform a little ritual. You write one sentence at the bottom. This document is sealed for 48 hours. I will not reread it.
And you actually seal it.
Yes, put it in an envelope, whatever. The act itself helps prevent those obsessive loops, that constant replaying of the disaster in your mind.
Then comes social triage, from 12 to 24 hours. Who do you even talk to when everything's falling apart?
Very few people, just 1 to 3 max. Your absolute safe people. This is not the time for a public announcement. And you use a very specific script, something like, I'm in a crisis. I don't need advice right now. Can you just check on me tomorrow?
Ah, so you're setting boundaries immediately.
Exactly. It gives you a lifeline without opening the floodgates for unwanted advice or, frankly, drama. And crucially, during this time, mute everything. News alerts, social media feeds, cut off the triggers.
And the last part of containment, 24 to 48 hours in, is environmental sterilization, making a 6-foot sanctuary zone. What does that mean?
It means creating one small physical space that feels safe and neutral. Clear it out and box up all the physical reminders of the lost photos, awards, clothes associated with that past life. Get them out of sight.
Okay, so the 48 hours are done. You've sort of contained the initial blast. The immediate noise is lower. Now what? The damage is still there.
Right. Now the brain can shift gears slowly from pure reaction to pattern recognition. We move from survival to assessment. This is step 2. The loss inventory. And let's be clear, this is accounting. It is not about finding silver linings yet. You use a simple tool, the 3-column loss ledger.
Okay, 3 columns. What goes in them?
Column 1, lost. Be ruthless, be specific. List everything tangible and intangible, the $450 K business value, the marriage, the house, maybe self-confidence, routines. Get it all down. Column 2, remaining. Here you need to be microscopic. What assets, however small, actually survived? Your physical health, maybe. Even if it's just, I can still walk. Skills, you have 12 years of coding experience. Relationships, 3 close friends. Even physical objects, a working laptop.
So really granular stuff.
Yes, don't overlook anything. And then, column 3, non-negotiables. This is critical. What core values or character traits endured? Integrity, curiosity, resilience. Your ability to learn?
Ah, so the things that define you underneath the circumstances.
Precisely. These are the foundations of the new identity you'll eventually build.
Yeah.
They're the capital that the fire didn't touch.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. How do you actually start moving forward from this inventory? The sources mentioned the 1% asset activation.
This is the pivot point. It's where action begins, but action's so small it's almost impossible not to do it. You pick just one tiny item from that remaining column, your asset list, and you turn it into the smallest conceivable daily action.
Like super small.
Ridiculously small. If coding skill is on your list, your action today is write one line of code, just one. If 3 friends is there, send one text or meme.
Seriously, that's it.
That's it. The size is irrelevant. What matters is compliance, doing the thing you said you'd do. Each tiny completion engineers a little dopamine hit. It's like leaving a breadcrumb trail for your brain, proving it can still execute, still succeed, even on a micro level.
That makes sense. Building tiny bits of evidence, which seems to lead into step 3, identity reinvention. The sources really stress that trying to get back to who you were before is like a trap.
It's futile and painful. That old self, the one tied to what you lost, it's gone. The loss obliterated it. The only way forward is building a new identity. And the goal isn't just recovery, it's building one that's anti-fragile.
Anti-fragile, I like that. Not just bouncing back, but getting stronger because of the break. Is that the idea?
That's exactly it. You aim to build a self that's fundamentally more robust because it has integrated the experience of hitting rock bottom and surviving. It knows it can withstand shocks. We do this with what the sources call the 3-layer identity rebuild. It starts with defining your core narrative.
A narrative, like a story.
A single-sentence story, yes. One that owns the loss but frames it as an origin. For example, I am the entrepreneur who lost $450 and learned how to build resilient businesses starting with 0. Or, I am the person who navigated a health crisis and discovered true strength.
And you just repeat that.
Repeat it daily. It primes your brain, sets the direction. The second layer is the future self letter.
Okay, what's that?
You literally sit down and write a letter from your perspective 5 years in the future. Your future self writes back to your current self, describing how you rebuilt, what you learned, and crucially, how the loss actually became an advantage, an edge.
Wow, that sounds powerful. It'd be a bit weird, but powerful.
It taps into your brain's perspection network. It helps turn that vague, anxious feeling about the future into something more concrete, a goal you're moving towards. You read it weekly.
Okay, core narrative, future self letter. This leads into step 4, right? The momentum flywheel. You said earlier, motivation is engineered, not felt at this stage.
Exactly. Waiting to feel motivated when you're at 0. You'll wait forever. You have to create momentum through engineered action. You build a self-reinforcing loop where tiny wins generate the energy for slightly bigger wins.
How do you engineer that loop?
A great tool is the 7-day reboot cycle. It gives you a concrete structure with tiny, escalating tasks designed purely to build consistency.
Like what kind of tasks?
Super simple. Day 1 might just be a 5-minute walk and writing down one thing you're grateful for, one sentence. Day 2 could be doing one micro task related to a skill from your remaining list. By day 5, you introduce a tiny bit of public accountability, like posting anonymously somewhere, day 57 of my reboot. That little bit of external pressure helps lock it in.
Okay, but here's something from the sources I wanted to push on. The rule is, if you miss any day in that 7-day cycle, you restart at day 1. No exceptions, no shame. That sounds kind of harsh for someone already down. Couldn't that just make people give up?
It sounds harsh, but think about it. It's actually incredibly forgiving in a way. It removes the ambiguity and the potential for guilt to spiral. A miss breaks the compounding effect of consistency. Instead of beating yourself up for days, the rule is simple. Miss a day. Okay, reset. Start fresh tomorrow at day 1. It reinforces that daily compliance is the goal, and failure isn't a catastrophe, it's just data. Reset and go again. It makes restarting frictionless.
Okay, I can see that. It removes the judgment. All right, so we're building momentum. Now, step 5 seems counterintuitive. The scarcity advantage. How can having nothing be an advantage?
This is a crucial reframe. When you've lost your safety nets, your resources, your usual ways of doing things, you're forced into creativity. Constraints aren't just limitations. They're powerful incubators for innovation.
Forced creativity.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you leverage that? The sources mentioned scarcity hacks.
Right. 3 main ones. First, the $0 product test. Whatever new thing you're trying to build a service, a small product, you commit to validating it using only free tools. Substack for a newsletter, your phone camera for videos, Google Docs, whatever.
So no financial risk forces you to focus purely on value and market need.
Exactly. Pure validation.
Yeah.
Second hack, the no excuses environment. You ruthlessly remove friction for those 1% daily actions. Want to exercise? Shoes and workout clothes are right by the door, ready. Want to write? Notes app is open on your phone's home screen. Make the desired action the path of least resistance.
Makes sense. Friction kills consistency.
Absolutely. And the third hack is the loss leader offer. You take your best skill, something from your remaining list, and offer it for free to a very small targeted group, like 10 free LinkedIn profile audits if you lost your marketing agency.
Why free?
The goal isn't immediate income. It's to quickly generate powerful testimonials, case studies, and maybe referrals. That social proof becomes your seed capital for rebuilding trust and attracting paying clients later.
Okay, using constraints. Smart. But what about the actual pain?
Yeah.
Step 6 talks about processing grief, because unprocessed grief just festers.
Right.
It leads to self-sabotage.
Constantly, it becomes what some call a psychic vampire, just draining your energy in the background. You have to consciously integrate the pain. You need a grief motivation bridge.
How do you build that bridge?
One powerful ritual is the monthly loss letter. Once a month, you write a letter to the job, the money, the relationship, whatever it was.
Thing to the laws.
Yes. And in the letter, you specifically thank it for 3 lessons it taught you. Maybe resilience, maybe clarity on priorities, maybe who your real friends are. Then you ritualistically destroy the letter, burn it, bury it, shred it.
Why the ritual?
Yep.
The burning or burying?
It provides closure for that cycle. It acknowledges the pain and the lessons, then deliberately releases the hold it has on you for that month. It stops the loss from just haunting you endlessly. It turns it into useful, albeit painful, information.
Along with processing your own grief, the sources mention needing a pain portfolio. What's that? Proof.
Proof of concept, exactly, for resilience. When despair inevitably hits, willpower isn't enough. You need concrete evidence that people can rebuild from devastating losses. So you collect these stories. J.K. Rowling facing rejection, Steve Jobs getting fired from Apple, Viktor Frankl surviving the Holocaust. Keep them accessible. When you feel like it's impossible, you look at your portfolio. Proof trumps promises every time.
Right. Real examples are powerful. Okay, so after maybe 30 days or so of this stabilization assessment and microactions, we hit step 7, the 90-day reconstruction sprint. This sounds like shifting gears.
It is. You're moving from basic survival and stabilization to actually building something tangible again. Thriving, not just surviving.
And how does the sprint work? What defines it?
One single measurable metric for the 90 days. Pick one key outcome. Maybe it's $1,000 earned or 10 pounds lost or 30 pages of the book written, something concrete. Then you take that 90-day goal and you reverse engineer it back into those daily 1% actions we talked about earlier. What tiny thing must you do today to move towards that metric?
And there's an accountability piece too, the weekly public update.
Yes, even if it's anonymous on a forum or just to a trusted friend, state your goal for the week and report back on progress. That public declaration, however small, increases commitment dramatically.
And then day 90, there's a non-negotiable celebration.
Absolutely critical. Mark the end of the sprint, acknowledge the journey, celebrate the achievement, however small it feels. It cements the progress and builds confidence for the next phase.
So pulling this all together, what's the underlying formula here? The sources talk about the rebirth equation.
Right. It reframes the entire experience. The equation is loss, information plus constraint plus identity reset. The loss itself gives you invaluable information about what was fragile or maybe misaligned. The constraint it imposes forces innovation and focus. And the event necessitates an identity reset, allowing you to build something stronger.
Wow, okay. Loss equals information plus constraint plus identity reset. That reframes tragedy as almost a necessary ingredient.
It can be if you approach it structurally. And when you plug that understanding back into the action steps, the formula for rebuilding becomes clear. It's basically daily 1% action, X, 90 days, S, public proof, equals new reality. The math is kind of merciless, but it's also merciful because it works.
The only requirement is showing up for that next 1% action.
That's it. The process handles the rest if you just keep feeding it those tiny inputs.
So the person who's been through that full system reset, who's lost it all, they're actually, in a strange way, uniquely qualified now. They can build something truly unbreakable because they understand fragility in a way others don't. We've laid out the structure, the forensic guide from the sources, the protocols, the daily actions. You listening have the blueprint now.
So the question to leave you with is this. How can you start looking at your own losses, past or present, not as just tragedies to be endured or avoided, but maybe, just maybe, as the mandatory origin story for the strongest, most resilient version of yourself that's waiting to be built?